Morning all. Today we're heading out to the Poughkeepsie Railroad Bridge in Poughkeepsie, New York, Dutchess County in the mid-Hudson Valley. We're going to tell you a little story about the bridge, how it started, how it lived its life, and how it died, and how it was reborn, what it is today. Stay with us. Today we're out here on the walkway over the Hudson State Historic Park, the Poughkeepsie Railroad Bridge. It's the world's longest elevated pedestrian bridge. It's a total of 212 feet tall. Wow, that's a long way down. It's a total of 6,768 feet long, which equates to just about 1.2 miles. It spans the Hudson River here in New York, between Poughkeepsie and Highland. That's Dutchess County and Ulster County. It was originally opened in 1888 to train traffic. Officially opened in 1889. It operated as a train bridge continually from 1889 to 1974, when a fire destroyed a large portion of its wooden decking. This was May 8th, 1974. I recall that. It was an instant abandonment of all train traffic forever. So between 1974 and 1998, there were more propositions to do something, anything at all, with this structure as Carter had pills. Well, with all the plans and proposals, what boiled it down to the final thing was in October of 2009, the walkway opened to visitors. And on opening day, Pete Seeger, the world-renowned activist for the environment and humanity, as well as being a famous and loved musician, and he was also a local Beacon resident, he led the first large contingency of folks across the bridge during the opening ceremonies. Today, there's a glass elevator that was added on the Poughkeepsie waterfront side to take folks from the river's edge up to the top of the walkway. There's also a Talkway Over the Walkway virtual cell phone tour and an audio tour that's in 3 languages: English, Spanish, and Mandarin. Guess you need a smartphone for that. Not like me. So here's a little bit of history about the railroad part of this bridge. Poughkeepsie Railroad Bridge was the first bridge to be built over the Hudson River, from the ocean all the way up to Albany. It officially opened in 1889. It was abandoned in 1974 after the major fire that we talked about destroyed the large portion of the wood ties and decking. It's a total of 85 years of trains. Before this great bridge was built, ferries moved goods on rail cars across the Hudson, most notably the Newburgh Beacon ferry locally, just south of here. The very first conception of a railroad bridge across the Hudson was in 1855 by a young enterprising engineer. He was mostly laughed at and ridiculed, and soon the idea was forgotten. Next, in the late 1860s, the idea was again proposed, this time during a major period of railway building across America. This time, folks actually sat up and listened. By 1868, it was proclaimed that Poughkeepsie would be the best choice of locating a bridge across the Hudson. In 1871, the P&E, the Poughkeepsie and Eastern Railroad, opened from Poughkeepsie to Millerton, New York, near the Connecticut border. The owners argued for the bridge as mixed freight and, more importantly, or perhaps most importantly, coal from the Pennsylvania coal fields could flood into New England. Local businessmen in the Poughkeepsie, Dutchess County, Ulster County area with lots of money started to invest time and commitment and actually stood up and listened to see this bridge be built. Well, Those were the yay-sayers. The naysayers included railroad tycoon Vanderbilt. He owned the New York Central Railroad, of course. And he already owned and controlled a railroad bridge at Albany. He fiercely opposed the project, fearing competition. More and more local entrepreneurs and famous men jumped on board and supported a bridge in Poughkeepsie. And in May of 1871, the Poughkeepsie Bridge Company was chartered. Many, many famous names that are familiar today, such as Winslow, Eastman, Innes, Adriance, Booth, Collingwood, Dickinson, Gaylord, Hasbrook, Nelson, Pelton, Platt, Rappeljay, and Vassar. They were on the Poughkeepsie Bridge Company's selected incorporators list, meaning they invested tons of money. A huge cornerstone laying party took place December 17th, 1873. Train cars full of dignitaries from New York City and New England, as far away as Boston, attended. As many as 10,000 people were told to be on site to witness the cornerstone being laid at the Poughkeepsie waterfront. On December 29th, 1888, the first train to use the bridge was Hartford and Connecticut Western Railroad number 10 locomotive with one coach. Went from the Poughkeepsie to the Highland side. It was the train, the tender, the coach, and the crew, passengers, and local dignitaries, and as many people as could run and hop on as they could. They all cheered the success. A few days later, January 1st, 1889, the bridge was officially deemed opened for rail business. So on January 1st, 1889, official opening, to May 8th, 1974, the day of the fire, abandoned. That's a total of 85 years, 4 months, and 7 days of continuous train revenue traffic. Okay, it's a balmy 10 degrees out here this morning. We're about to enter the walkway, aka the Poughkeepsie Railroad Bridge. Here we go. Right now we're out above Washington Street here in the city of Poughkeepsie. This section down below us is called Little Italy. It's the Italian section of Poughkeepsie. Just starting to snow. They're calling for another inch or two here in this area. More to the south, New York City and south, New Jersey, Philadelphia, DC, Baltimore. Anyway, as you can see, we're still overland. Don't drop the GoPro, Russ. You'll never get it back. But we now are on the straightaway. Poughkeepsie side was curved on the entryway. This was double tracked. Okay, we're still overland. City of Poughkeepsie. Now you got these, I'd say about 5 foot tall guardrails on both sides now. They didn't have that when these trains were going across. No. That engineer and that train crew were sitting right up there high above the rails, high above the river. 212 feet off the river. You could easily add another 10 feet to that. They had nerves of steel, and I'm sure a flask in every pocket. I know I would have. Mighty Hudson River. Down over yonder by that rail equipment and above that yellow building is the switch turn off on the New York Central main line that went up the hospital branch to that tower way up there in the distance. You probably cannot see it, and it came down and it went into the city back that way. That was the hospital branch. Of course, underneath us here, New York Central main line, river line, and on the other side, the Highland side, the Ulster County side, is the West Shore Railroad, New York Central. Okay, now we're here. Down over here on the south side of the bridge is the Poughkeepsie train station, just behind that steeple there. Let's see if we can get a view of it. There it is. It's that brick building. That brick building, hard to see with this fence. I think I'd rather have this fence here for everybody's safety than not. There you go. Give you an idea of what's left of the Poughkeepsie rail yards. That's you can kind of see where the switch to the hospital branch goes off there now. All right, we've arrived at the water. Here is the elevator. It is non-functioning during the winter months, I believe. Yeah, elevator closed for the season. Here we are, out over the Hudson River. That's looking north, up that way. And this, before this bridge was built, of course, you had the Delaware and Hudson Canal. Came from the coal fields in Pennsylvania all the way up to Kingston, down in the Rondout section. They would barge across the river the coal to the Rhinecliff side to Coal Dock, at which point it was brought by the Rhinebeck and Connecticut Railroad, which we have featured on this channel, out to state line and out to Connecticut, Massachusetts, and ultimately Boston, where the coal was a necessary item for the households and the businesses. And of course, looking south, you've got your Mid-Hudson Bridge. I believe it's called the Franklin Delano Roosevelt Bridge, maybe. Have to look into that. That's got some great history to it. Also, south of here, of course, you had the Newburgh Beacon Ferry. Coal came from the Lehigh and the Lehigh, New England, to Newburgh down to the waterfront, at which point it was barged across the river and it was brought through Dutchess County out to state line in Millerton by the Newburgh, Dutchess and Connecticut Railroad. And I believe the flag up there is quite possibly the Ulster County, Dutchess County line. We'll see. There go the geese heading south. It's almost the end of January here, and they're just heading south now. They're a little behind. Morning. Well, I'm not gonna lie, I just stepped on an expansion joint with my boot and I heard a crack over on the guardrail. I'm not gonna lie, it startled me. Not too many souls out here today. It's flurrying a little heavier now, somewhere in the 10 to 15 degree range. Yeah, it's a nice morning. How would you like that job? Shoveling snow off the railroad bridge and throwing it down into the river. Placed on the National Register of Historic Places in 1979. Well, how about that? Old Glory's in a state of limpness. We got a car coming up behind us here. The snow shoveler. How would you like that job? I don't think I would. I personally have grown to detest heights due to numerous falls during my lifetime of sheer stupidity and accidental incidents. I just met and talked with the nice young lady who was shoveling and driving the car. I asked her for a quick interview and she seemed a little timid, but that's fine, that's okay. She did say she enjoys her job, she really loves it. She's been up here around 8 years working here, and she just loves her job. I love people that love their jobs. Do you love your job? You don't have to answer that. We're on the Highland side right now. We made it all the way over. We're back over land. We're in Ulster County. And we'll see what's on this side of things. So we made it. This is what they call the Scenic Hudson Gate. We're on the Highland side, of course. And this is where the Hudson Valley Rail Trail takes over from the walkway. There's your snow brooms. I will say, my first time over the bridge, they do a real nice job. There's Sojourner Truth. They do a nice job keeping it clean. Give you a little history on her. And they've got a nice building on this side too. Well, somebody told me that that old girl was up there. Let's go see it. What do we got here? 1926. It's an N5. Let's see what we got. Really hard to read. Let's go look at this one. It's a Pennsylvania. There you go. Looks like V10942. All right, well, she could have plied the rails of the bridge. They had mixed bags here. Oh, they got it set up as a little the fiery train wreck of 1943. Wonder what that's all about. Okay. I've got a 12 o'clock noon appointment. It's going to take me every second I've got left from here forward to make it. So we're in Highland. We have to get back to Poughkeepsie. That means that way. Let's go. You still love your job?
Yes, absolutely.
You've been doing this 8 years?
No, 3.
Oh, 3. Cool.
Yes, and what we do is we shovel holes out
Yeah.
every so many feet, and
Okay.
then when this melts, it will all melt and drain off the side of the bridge.
That's a very wise
So
idea.
for the new snow that's coming, we're topping everything off because we can't use any kind of salt on the bridge or anything
Sure.
like that. Everything's manual.
So it's all you, manual
Yes,
labor.
It's all us. We got a great crew.
I
Everybody
see
works
they use
hard.
brooms and not plows.
Yes, yes, yes.
It's a lot easier and
Oh, it's a lot
gentler on the
Yes,
surface.
Everything is about taking care of the deck.
The surface, the deck, yeah.
Yep.
Well, I've got an appointment I've got to get back to. I appreciate it. You stay safe.
Yeah, you too. Have a great
Bye-bye.
walk.
That was cool. She said hi. She's got a great job. She does love her job. I actually love my job too. I hope you do. Back to Poughkeepsie. I will say she's getting a little slippery. Yeah, almost to the point where you can slide. So, let's see. Anxiety, fear of heights, vertigo, slippery surface, 212 feet above a Hudson River. Yeah, this is not for everybody. We're gonna be fine though. Come on, let's go. Now, of course, they didn't have these rises like this. It was a gradual rise, but they did this when they built the walkway to graduate the inclines and the declines. Yes. And remember, use caution. Okay. Here we go, kids. Back over. This is the time of the year to go. There's nobody out here. I think I've passed 4 people so far. What do we got? 1.28, and 1.28 is 2.56, I believe. I'm not good at math. About 2.5 miles round trip. Nice little brisk walk. As we say goodbye to the Highland side. That's the West Shore down there. Yep. Way down there. Huh. Maybe we'll wait a second. I think I hear a train coming. Rolling around the bend. I don't see any sunshine since I don't know when. Hello there, looking back at me, looking at you. Short little 29 car intermodal northbound on the West Shore Line. We're looking north of the bridge. That was the site of the AC Dutton Lumber Works. I pulled a few loads of pressure treated lumber out of there. 78, 79-ish. Just north of there was the old amusement park, and trying to get it right between those pickets for you. That's the site of Marist College now, and you can see the switch turn off for the hospital branch. I can. I don't think you can, but it's down there. It's down there. And that, of course, is the Poughkeepsie train station on the New York Central, former New York Central line. Not quite sure I'm going to pick it up, but down there is the fabulous, right underneath Route 9 and just before the tracks, the fabulous waterfalls of the Fallkill Creek that dumps into the Hudson right about here. These tracks now service Metro North from New York City north to here to Poughkeepsie, and Amtrak all the way up to the Canadian border. Poughkeepsie, New York. There's looking north again. That's probably the best view I'm going to be able to get through this chain link fence of the Poughkeepsie hospital branch turnoff. Why, right there, the switch. If you can see that highway bridge where the police car is, he's moving now. There he goes. Just above it, you can see the switch and the turnoff. That's the hospital branch right there. Went up to the Hudson River State Hospital, which is all being rebuilt now. I did a feature film on that. We'll reference that at this point. You can watch that one from your comfy chairs. What you got there, buddy? Can you see him? Got his tail tucked up over his body. Looks like he's got a big mohawk. He's chewing on a nut. Huh. Hey! He's unfazed. Well, we made it. We're back on the Poughkeepsie side. Almost to the point where I don't see Sam. Uh-oh. Oh, buddy. Did you leave without me? This is eastbound here. This is the Maybrook, New York, New Haven, and Hartford main line. And you got a train carrying coal. Just came from Maybrook, New York, major hub. And he's headed for Danbury and points east. He's going to pass through Hopewell Junction, which was a major link. Up ahead a little ways, you had the Poughkeepsie and Eastern branched off to the right and went through the city of Poughkeepsie and went on out into Millerton at State Line. A little ways up farther, off to the left, veered off the Poughkeepsie and Connecticut. And the Poughkeepsie and Connecticut paralleled the Poughkeepsie and Eastern all the way out through Dutchess County in a northeasterly view out towards Millerton and State Line. Major freight haulers through Dutchess County. I wonder what this building was. I think it used to be a tire shop at one point. Anyway, we're almost back to Sam. I can see him now. He's up there. We made it back to Sam, and I'm not going to fib. I am frozen solid. It's 13 degrees out now. It's warming right up. 2.5 mile walk. I've been relatively dormant lately. Sawmill's been shut down for over a month and a half almost. Spent the last week and a half or 2 weeks sitting in my comfy chair munching on dark chocolate covered pretzels and drinking Baileys. All right, what I meant to say was there, it's so cold the battery froze up on me. What I meant to say was, after the pretzels and Bailey comment, I hope you enjoyed the Poughkeepsie Railroad Bridge video, and we'll be back again when the weather warms up a little bit with some more cool, juicy railroad videos on Lost Rail Beds. Take care, guys and gals. Appreciate you.